This is Johnny Gilbert speaking. Jeopardy is a production of Merv Griffin Enterprises and is distributed by King World.
Some folks think cable cars capture the real flavor of San Francisco. But for me, it's a great taste of sourdough bread. The secret behind that Hardee's Frisco burger everyone's raving about.
And now there's a new way to enjoy that great sourdough taste. Hardee's Frisco Club. Delicious turkey, tender ham, Swiss cheese, tomatoes, and sizzling bacon on grilled sourdough bread. The new Hardee's Frisco Club and Hardee's Frisco burger.
The real flavor of San Francisco without having to catch a cable car.
Are you ready for some real food?
You're gonna be a beautiful bride.
Not if I don't get some Z's.
Nitol safely helps you fall asleep fast so you can get your Z's. Nitol or Maximum Strength Nitol.
Nitol will help you get your Z's.
I try to ignore my sensitive teeth, but they hurt.
Sensodyne helps stop the pain that can make you stop brushing, could lead even to tooth loss. And now Sensodyne has fluoride.
Fluoride, great.
New Sensodyne helps stop the pain of sensitive teeth.
You're on TV8, KCCI TV, Des Moines.
Good afternoon, Kevin Cooney, TV8 News Now. Here's a look at what's ahead on the TV8 News Live at 6. Greyhound announces today it's moving its 400-person accounting center from West Des Moines to Dallas, Texas. Michelle Parker with details, Jeff Greenwood with reaction. The scaffolding is coming down from the west side of the Capitol building after 2.5 years. Sarah Jarvis will update the massive State House restoration effort. In sports tonight, we'll hear from Hayden Fry, and Heidi previews tonight's first game of the National League Championship Series. Now this.
Des Moines' easiest choice. Easy Mix 106.3 FM. KMXD. Classic melodies, easy hits. Listen.
The rain is back in the forecast. Connie will have the weather. Now to CBS Evening News and Dan Rather in New York.
The Supreme Court takes on the debate over blockading pregnant women from abortion clinics.
If you haven't listened to anything else I've said tonight, listen very carefully to this.
It could be the most unorthodox presidential campaign ever. New questions about Ross Perot and the debates as Perot opens a new pitch in America's living rooms. And our Money Crunch series on beating the high cost of health care. Tonight, avoiding the insurance trap. This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. Good evening. Just 4 weeks before the election, President Bush has decided to take a high-risk, flatly anti-abortion stand in a case before the United States Supreme Court. In arguments today, the president had his administration side with groups that claim a right to blockade abortion clinics. Rita Braver has more about abortion, the law, and the election.
The Supreme Court was an abortion battleground again today. The justices were considering whether clinic blockades violate the civil rights of women seeking abortions and whether federal marshals should be called in to protect those women.
This is me here.
Liana Huth says demonstrators violated her civil rights when they attacked her as she went for an abortion earlier this year.
I can't believe that in this country that I couldn't go to an appointment that I had scheduled where it's completely legal at this point, and I had to go through that.
This Chicago woman, who asked us not to use her name, says the blockade was even worse for her. She desperately wanted a baby, but chose abortion because the child would have been born with a fatal birth defect.
My privacy was ripped away from me. I was mentally raped, and it's not something you get over very easily. It's something that stays with you for a long time. I'm sorry.
The question of federal protection is important because federal marshals have more resources than most local police. But Operation Rescue, backed by the Bush administration, says abortion blockades don't violate civil rights.
The issue in this case today is, does opposition to abortion constitute discrimination against women? The answer has to be no, it does not.
And though this case is technically about blockades, both sides agree that it symbolizes the president's commitment to abolishing the right to abortion, upheld by just one vote last term.
Not only do they not want to do anything to ensure abortion rights, they want to make sure that they can chip away so that ultimately there will be no rights.
George Bush has been a faithful ally of the pro-life movement. Therefore, we have a strong vested interest in his re-election.
An 8-member Supreme Court considered the blockade issue last term but could not reach a decision. Now, Clarence Thomas's vote is expected to help the president win here. But this close to the election, with the majority of Americans favoring abortion rights, the president's stance could lose him a lot of other votes at the polling place. Rita Braver, CBS News at the Supreme Court.
With the first presidential debate, as it's called, scheduled for Sunday, now there's some questions. First, will there actually be an event? And if so, who will be there? The sticking point, the Bush and Clinton camps want Ross Perot to be invited to all of these events. The Election Commission debate panel, official sponsors of the event, say that it will only commit to inviting Perot to the first one. Now, whether or not Perot actually appears in the joint appearances or not, he bought TV time for himself tonight, as Bill Legatuda reports.
I thought it would be a good idea to take the most important problem first. That problem is our economy and jobs.
Ross Perot begins running his infomercials tonight.
Look right here at the red.
30 minutes of pie charts and plain talk.
If you haven't listened to anything else I've said tonight, listen very carefully to this.
But America may be sick and tired of listening to Ross Perot.
Everyone hates quitters.
I think the whole Ross Perot thing is a complete farce.
It is amazing how far Perot has fallen. Once seen as a political savior, fast becoming a political footnote. In our latest poll, 72% say he should have stayed out. More than half think he's just a distraction. Only 11% believe he got back in for the volunteers.
I think he's an egomaniac.
If the election were held today, the one-time frontrunner couldn't carry a single state. Only in his home state could he really have an impact.
I think he's going to take away from Bush, especially in the state of Texas.
Tremendous leadership capacity. Look at the people that are turning out.
Nothing better illustrates the tragedy of the Perot movement than these commercials Perot commissioned this summer, then rejected.
If he didn't agree with advice others gave him, he tended to get angry.
Are you registered?
These spots showed the promise, the people's movement. The show, which airs tonight, is, well, all Perot.
If we get there, we're going to clean this mess up on day one.
Perot will spend $1 million on TV this week trying to sell himself all over again. But this time, consumer confidence in the product he's pitching may be at an all-time low. Bill Legatuda, CBS News, Dallas.
Perot, of course, argues that he can get that confidence up. The Perot factor, or lack of it, is just the latest in a series of what were supposed to be major turning points in the campaign. More about that now from correspondent Mark Phillips in tonight's Campaign 92 Reality Check.
In a campaign which has not yet produced a memorable rallying cry or much movement in the polls, there is one ringing phrase that can be applied: just wait. This has become the Just Wait campaign.
I put myself back in the draft.
Back in the primaries, it was just wait until the other candidates exposed Bill Clinton's personality flaws, his draft record, his desire to be all things to all people.
This is my opponent, Panda Bear.
But the Panda Bear won anyway. When Ross Perot quit the first time, it was just wait until Perot's conservative support drifts back to George Bush. But with a well-scripted Democratic convention, most of the Perot support drifted to Clinton. Later it became just wait until Bush gets his bounce from the Republican convention. Just wait until James Baker starts performing his voter manipulation magic. Just wait until the negative ads start having an effect. Just wait for Perot, too, to start sucking away the Clinton protest vote. Or on the Bush downside, just wait for his disputed role in Iran-Contra to lodge in the public mind. So the country waited, and nothing much happened. The campaign was stuck. Voters seemed less concerned with Bill Clinton's potential weakness as president than they were with George Bush's already demonstrated weakness.
If you're the incumbent, you first have to give people some good reason to re-elect you. Then you can get into the subject of what may be wrong with the other candidate.
Yet, Bill Clinton remains a vulnerable candidate with a very high unfavorable rating for a possible winner. He may not be the Teflon candidate, but he may be something just as good.
He's the inoculated candidate. Teflon implies that you're never hit. He was hit extremely hard, but having survived the initial hits, that may have inoculated him to the point where he can't be hurt again.
So now it's just wait for the debates, in which George Bush's last chance seems to lie in the hope of a major Clinton gaffe. This has been called a weird campaign year, yet that weirdness has not been reflected in wildly fluctuating polls. Rather, the support for the candidates has been weirdly static given everything that's happened. So now the opposing camps are just waiting again in a campaign that is finally beginning to run out of time. Mark Phillips, CBS News, Washington.
Still ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, a possible widespread problem that could have caused a 747 crash. And a money crunch warning about the fine print on some of your insurance.
At Ford Motor Company, we're already building vehicles that meet California's strict emission standards for the late 90s. We're the first U.S. manufacturer to build a car with CFC-free air conditioning. And we'll soon have a fleet of electric vehicles on the road. For us, designing quality cars and trucks means keeping an eye on the big picture.
At Ford, we understand that the quality of the environment is one of our greatest responsibilities.
Ford Motor Company, quality is job one. It's working.
I live in the country, where everything tastes a little sweeter and a little fresher. Maybe that's what I like best about these Sunsweet pitted prunes. I can taste all that goodness in Sunsweet.
We've heard some of you are waiting for a Rice-A-Roni with a bit less salt. Well, here you go. Introducing a Rice-A-Roni with a third less salt and lots of great taste. Good thing there's plenty to go around.
The San Francisco treat.
Investigators today studied wreckage from the Israeli cargo jet that crashed into apartment buildings in Amsterdam, the Netherlands. Meanwhile, the plane's manufacturer, Boeing, confirmed that it had put out a warning last month of possible problems with the engine mounts. Tom Fenton has our report.
Before the crash, Boeing was already concerned about the pins holding the engines to the wings. 2 weeks ago, it held a meeting with airlines, including El Al, to discuss reports of metal fatigue in the pins.
This is a precautionary measure. We don't have any evidence that it's the cause.
Concern was first raised last December when a 747 belonging to China Airlines also lost 2 engines after takeoff. But Boeing refuses to link the 2 disasters.
We do know we have physical departure of engines from wings. That's unprecedented before the China air crash. Hadn't happened before. And now we have it a second time. We got to find out why.
Some airlines are treating the matter urgently. British Airways today began putting new pins in all of its Boeing 747 engine mounts. The so-called fuse pins attach the engine pylons to the wing. They're designed to brake and allow the engines to drop off cleanly in a catastrophic engine failure, preserving control of the aircraft. But the pilot of the El Al jet radioed the tower that the control panel failed and he couldn't use his wing flaps after he reported engine fires. The fuel-laden plane then turned into a spiraling bomb out of control. The investigators will take many things into account. One of these will be the plane's maintenance record. Reports have surfaced that the El Al plane that caused this tragedy had serious mechanical problems. 2 years ago, the plane lost a flap when taking off from Amsterdam airport. And the year before that, the pilot reported violent vibrations on takeoff. But it's the engines that will be studied most closely for the answers to the mystery of why 2 Boeing 747 cargo planes have lost 2 engines, an accident so rare that it was once thought to be impossible. Tom Fenton, CBS News, near Amsterdam.
Stay with us now for more CBS News, including racism in a small college town, why the names of African-American students were turned over to police.
All of these toilet bowl cleaners may clean, but not one of them disinfects. So you don't get your toilet totally clean unless you use Lysol toilet bowl cleaner. It easily reaches tough rust stains, and unlike those others, it disinfects for a deep down clean. Don't do part of the job. Get your toilet totally clean with Lysol toilet bowl cleaner.
Mice. For everyone you see, there may be 15 or 20 that you don't see, and they eat in many different places. A very unhealthy situation. But put Decon Mouse-Prufe in the places mice feed, like behind the refrigerator, the cupboard, the washer, and you'll eliminate them faster. Decon Mouse-Prufe gets mice right where they live.
On the surface, it's a perfect neighborhood. But beneath the surface, there could be trouble brewing in the septic system. Ask anyone who's had a backup. Better to maintain your system. That includes Rid-X once a month. Rid-X helps keep your system free-flowing. And regular maintenance, including Rid-X, helps prevent backup. Look beneath the surface. Use Rid-X once a month.
I'll get the cereal, honey.
Morning! You'll love this cereal.
Where'd you come from?
A different time when grains were kept whole for the natural hearty taste.
New great grains.
Toasted wheat, oats, and barley. Kept whole. Full of flavor.
Pecans, dates, raisins.
Enjoy it with the missus.
Thanks.
Great. Where'd you get this?
Mind if I tell her?
What was great back then is great grains now. A great new cereal from Post.
Campaign 92, the candidates with their plans for America. They come to us to talk to you. CBS This Morning with Harry Smith and Paula Zahn.
The United Nations Security Council voted tonight to set up a Nuremberg-style war crimes commission to investigate atrocities in what was Yugoslavia. Most of the alleged crimes are attributed to Serbian forces in Bosnia. The same disturbing and dangerous racial tensions that boiled up from the surface in Los Angeles this spring and summer are heating up in other communities, large and small. Young African-American men in particular say they are often singled out by police and subjected to unlawful treatment. Jacqueline Adams reports some of them are now doing what they call standing up for their rights.
What has happened over the last few days is a vicious character assassination and slavery.
In Minneapolis, young black men claim they're being randomly stopped and searched following the murder of a police officer. In Newark, a black teenager suspected of car theft was shot by 3 cops. Even in the quiet town of Oneonta, New York, soon-to-be teachers, doctors, and lawyers attending a state university have been subjected to similar treatment.
We were walking around here, the black males, not only on this campus, but in this town, for somewhere around roughly 40 hours with no civil rights.
For a month now, students have been quietly protesting. On the night of September 4th, an elderly white woman was attacked near the campus. She never saw the assailant's face, but said his arm was black. University officials admit they violated federal privacy laws when, upon request, they gave police the names and addresses of 77 black male students, most of whom were questioned.
You just had to be black, and then you are a suspect, and I was very mad about that.
We are already stereotyped to do violent things and to do upsetting things.
To me, it was just like, oh, another day that I'm getting treated like shit.
It was a classic coon hunt.
No assailant has yet been found. Both the state police and the university have told students they're sorry.
There must have been other means short of what we did to cooperate with the police.
President Donovan's apology did not satisfy students. Neither did his decision to suspend, reprimand, and demote the subordinate who authorized release of the list to police. What the students now want is the kind of change that has yet to occur anyplace in America.
We've been doing this for 400 years. We're trying to get something done finally, and if it's not us that's going to do something about it, no one will.
The students are now interviewing lawyers for a possible lawsuit against the university, but no one thinks mere money can repair the damage. Jacqueline Adams, CBS News, Oneonta, New York.
You may not remember the name of Eddie Kendricks, but you'll probably remember his voice. Eddie Kendricks was a big part of the Motown sound of the Temptations. He died yesterday of lung cancer, age 52. Kendricks made some of the sweetest sounds in rock and roll.
Never seen nothing like it. I mean, Rusty Slade was an ornery sort. Always ate his old Bran Flakes just for fiber. But one morning, I gave him Kellogg's new complete Bran Flakes. Weren't the same. More than fiber, they had whole grain wheat. Flakes for new too, crispy, crunchy. Why, that Kellogg's complete Bran Flakes even had a better nutty taste. It was all so good, made Rusty smile. Almost. New Kellogg's complete Bran Flakes. Fiber and then some.
All families catch colds, even doctors' families. For Mrs. O'Connor's cold, her husband recommends Dimetapp. Now there's something new. Dimetapp liquid gels. Concentrated medicine that works fast. Doctors trust Dimetapp for their families. Shouldn't you trust it for yours?
I try to ignore my sensitive teeth, but they hurt.
Sensodyne helps stop the pain that can make you stop brushing, could lead even to tooth loss. And now, Sensodyne has fluoride.
Fluoride, great.
New Sensodyne helps stop the pain of sensitive teeth.
Now at Red Lobster.
Well, we've got a new special tonight. It's got everything. Petite lobster and 2 kinds of shrimp for just $10.99.
Start with petite lobster tails, sweet and delicious. Add our savory scampi. Then our famous grilled shrimp to top off a terrific dinner.
It's new.
It's petite lobster and shrimp 2 different ways. For a limited time, just $10.99.
It's delicious.
And it's only at Red Lobster.
If you're a parent, you worry. You'd like to think your children are safe on their school bus, but how safe are they? Steering clear of school bus accidents tomorrow on CBS This Morning.
All this week, the CBS Evening News is reporting to you on ways to get the most for your health care dollars, especially your insurance dollars. Tonight, long-term health care insurance. How not to come up short. Ray Brady gives you the straight story on what to look for and what to look out for. In tonight's report on the Money Crunch, health care in America.
This is my father's 85th birthday. I brought him home for the day to have a party.
Betty Tyler wasn't worried when her father had to go into a nursing home. He had long-term care insurance.
This is the policy that my father...
Nursing home insurance. But when Betty filed a claim, the insurer said, read the fine print. Your father's not covered for the kind of treatment he needs.
It's a fraud. I think to print this stuff up for the elderly, and most of them don't even understand it. I don't even understand it, and my mind's a little better than some elderly people. It's a ripoff for the elderly.
So Betty Tyler's father ended up spending his life savings to pay for the care he needed. Estimates are nearly half the people in this picture who reach age 65 will spend time in a nursing home. With the average cost of nursing home care at $30,000 a year or more, sales of long-term health insurance policies are soaring. But consumer advocate Gail Shearer says many of these policies are riddled with loopholes, and consumers don't know it till it's too late.
They buy a policy, they think they're covered for their long-term care needs. 5, 10, 20 years down the road, they find that because of fine print restrictions, they're not getting the coverage that they thought they'd purchased.
Watch out for these traps. The inflation trap. Make sure your policy covers what's called compounded inflation. The cost of your health care may soar way beyond what the policy pays. You're caught. You pay the difference. The illness trap. Does the fine print exclude you because of a pre-existing condition? Spell out your medical history to the insurer before you sign. The care trap. Watch for the words skilled care. If the policy covers only that, you could be denied coverage. Because what most people need is custodial care, help in dressing or bathing or daily tasks. The insurance industry argues it's removing the traps.
The newer products are less likely to have what you would consider loopholes.
There are reputable insurers, and reforms are on the way. Even so, when the insurance salesman comes knocking at your door, remember, if you read the fine print now, you'll save big bucks later on. Ray Brady, CBS News, The Money Crunch.
Coming up next, Eye on America. Tonight, hardcore criminals, prison tough, sowing seeds of redemption.
Wilford Brimley for new Quaker Oats Plus Fiber.
Every day should feel this good.
Maybe what you need to help feel your best is a good high-fiber cereal. In that case, Quaker's got some good news for you. Quaker Oats Plus Fiber. It's brand new, and it's got as much fiber as a lot of those cold high fibers. But this one, hot Quaker Oats.
Every day should feel this good.
This is one way to cut some fat from your family's diet. This is a whole new way. Introducing new Promise Ultra, the spread that's the absolute lowest in fat of any leading brand. That's right. Promise Ultra is the lowest in fat. Plus, it has 65% fewer calories than margarine and a light, delicate taste. So cut some fat from your family's diet a whole new way with Promise Ultra. Get heart smart.
Talking now with Margot, who says that she will not freeze with Gladlock zipper bags.
No, I like my zipper bags.
Well, we sent a remote crew out to your house, Margot, where your husband, Jerry, is about to replace the new throw pillows on your lovely sofa with either your bag full of chili or the Gladlock bag full of chili. Of course, only Gladlock has the yellow and blue make green seal, so you know it's closed. Your bag doesn't have a green seal.
Use the Gladlock,
Mark, I
Jerry.
can't hear you.
The Gladlock.
There's something wrong. I can't hear what she's saying.
Use the Gladlock.
No way. Be careful. I only hear...
When it really counts, only Gladlock has the yellow and blue make green seal.
Nighttime, one of the worst times for pain. Minor arthritis pain, muscle aches, pain that seems to go on. That's why you need Ultra Strength Bengay, the strongest Bengay ever. You can say goodnight to your pain with Ultra Strength Bengay.
Attention heartburn sufferers.
If antacids work, why do I keep getting heartburn?
You know, frequent heartburn may be a sign of a more serious medical problem. Your doctor has treatment plans that can help.
Frequent heartburn. Isn't it time you talk to your doctor?
Think of prison, and you think of stone walls and barbed wire, anger, fear, and violence. A jailed poet once wrote, "The vilest deeds, like poison weeds, bloom well in prison air." Still, in one American prison today, something else is blooming. John Blackstone takes us there in tonight's Eye on America.
Jails filled with prisoners are too often also filled with hopelessness on both sides of the bars.
It's tough. These inmates leave here. Where do they go? They're going to go right back to where they committed crime.
The jails have revolving doors. The same people keep coming back. At the San Francisco County Jail, Kathy Sneed stuck her foot in that revolving door.
All the stuff that you left out on the street, it's still there. But the garden represents a change.
On the jailhouse grounds, Kathy is turning criminals into gardeners and something more.
They see that every day when they come out and do some work, there's an instant response. They can see the next day that the plant has responded to their care. We show them that just as the plants get better with work, so do we. And it takes work to make that change.
When she started her garden, Kathy, a jail counselor, was desperate to find something that would make a difference. But around the jail, a lot of people doubted Kathy could ever get drug pushers and thieves to nurture lettuce and beans.
I did laugh. I laughed at them. I laughed at Kathy Sneed for what she was trying several years ago. Definitely.
And why did you laugh at her?
Because I didn't believe it would work.
Now, even the hardest jailers have stopped laughing.
It's a miracle. That's a miracle.
In 10 years, some 5,000 inmates have passed through Kathy's garden. Hundreds say it has helped them get their lives together.
I'm weeding out the weeds from the produce that's being produced here and grown here. And to me, it represents weeding out the bad things that's in my life.
Got us a good crop going here.
For many, it's the first time they've had the feeling of doing something worthwhile.
We've been bringing it in like this all week. Somebody kids is going to be nice and full tonight.
The produce from the jailhouse garden, 50,000 pounds of it a year, is donated to feed the poor, the elderly, who eat at San Francisco's soup kitchens.
A lot of our students, because they're addicted to drugs, have preyed on seniors, grabbed their purses, robbed them or whatever, after they've grown food for them that really gives them a different idea of people.
Along the way, Kathy realized that once her gardeners had done their time, they had nowhere to go, little hope of a job. So Kathy found this, a vacant lot in the toughest part of town. And Kathy's gardeners transformed it into a choice. Heroin and cocaine got Susie Mendoza into jail. Now Kathy's garden is helping to keep her out.
You gotta look at it this way. If I didn't come here, I would be out there. I live so close to where I used to get high out of it. It isn't even funny, you know.
Most important of all, this is a real job. The gardeners here get paid. The vegetables from this garden are not given away. They are sold to some of the finest restaurants in the area. Kathy's boss, Sheriff Michael Hennessy, sees her as a practical visionary.
We're trying to get people on jobs so they don't commit more crimes.
This is crime prevention. Having people working out there growing lettuce, that's crime prevention.
This is the best form of crime prevention and the cheapest that you could come up with.
Some of you, when I first meet you, I don't get a chance to see your eyes because you don't hold your heads up. But as I look around, I see more eyes. And that, to me, it's like the plants, as they grow, and they're holding their head up to the sun. All living things reach for the sun, reach for what's light. And that's what we're doing here.
So how does Kathy's garden grow? It grows with hope for those who work hard enough to harvest it. In San Francisco, this is John Blackstone for Eye on America.
And that's part of our world tonight. Later tonight on this CBS station, the baseball playoffs start. Dan Rather for the CBS Evening News. See you tomorrow. Good night.
CBS News.
Coming up next on the TV8 News, Greyhound buys a ticket south, leaving West Des Moines and 400 jobs, taking them to Dallas. Michelle Parker talks to the workers.
I'm Jeff Greenwood. Coming up, reaction from West Des Moines mayor about the loss of a major employer.
Also tonight, the facelift is over at the west side of the Capitol. Sarah Jarvis with a live update.
Connie's cool, damp forecast. Heidi with Hayden Fry. TV8 News coming up next.
Just look at oatmeal crisp with raisins. Big flakes bursting with hearty oatmeal baked to a brown sugar crunch, chewy, juicy raisins, and crunchy almonds. So much to savor, no one can race through a bowl. Oatmeal crisp with raisins, the taste that refuses to be rushed. And here's news about oatmeal crisp. It's now oatmeal crisp with almonds. Twice the almonds for a double crunchy taste. New oatmeal crisp with almonds.
A lot of people come to Subway for big food. They're in for a shock when they see our new 79-cent round sandwiches. Not just because of their shape, but because it's pretty amazing to think you can get a delicious sandwich on fresh baked bread for only 79 cents. They're perfect for people who don't want to pay a lot to eat with one hand. 79 cents, not since you were a little kid, has your lunch money jingled.
For more information on the new 79-cent sandwiches, bring your appetite to the Subway near you.
You're watching today's TV8. And this is News Now. This is TV8 News at 6.
Surprised and relieved that the rumors have been going around for 3 years, that they finally decided to say we are moving, and they're relieved.
Hundreds of Greyhound employees learn their jobs are headed south. Good evening. Thanks for being with us. I'm Sue Mason in for Paul.
I'm Kevin Cooney. The Greyhound Bus Lines Company confirms now it is closing its West Des Moines Accounting Center. 400 jobs will be moved to the company's headquarters in Dallas. Greyhound says the move will be complete by December of 1993. Now we have two reports tonight. First, TV8's Michelle Parker talking to the company and the workers.
Employees at the Greyhound Accounting Center in West Des Moines heard the news this morning that the company will move the business to Dallas. To many, it was a stunning and yet expected announcement.
There was a lot of rumors going around for a long time, and everybody had always said, don't worry about rumors. And it was quite a surprise.
I was shocked, but I expected it.
The accounting center opened in 1985 after Greyhound consolidated accounting functions in 3 other cities. Officials say employees will have the option of relocating to Dallas with the company.
No, I don't think I will. I'll stay here, my family.
Greyhound says the move is part of their efforts to streamline and consolidate their operations.
It'll help both in overall efficiency and help in our ability to control our business, and also from an overall communication standpoint, kind of help pull that all together.
Greyhound has seen some rocky times with a nationwide strike in 1990 and an eventual bankruptcy filing. Company officials say Greyhound emerged from bankruptcy almost a year ago and expects to make a profit this year. Company officials say they've been happy with the support they've gotten from West Des Moines, and the relocation is scheduled to be complete by December of 1993. Michelle Parker, TV8 News.
And company officials say that bus service in Des Moines will not be affected by the accounting center relocation.
Economic experts say the Greyhound move hurts, but overall, Metro Des Moines is gaining thousands of jobs in the coming year. TV8's Jeff Prunes joins us from the newsroom with reaction. And Jeff, what did the mayor of West Des Moines have to say?
Sue, the word he uses is shock at the announcement itself, but optimism regarding the impact of the announcement. Mayor Mills says up until today he had no idea this was happening. But he says if you take the city's continued growth into consideration, it's not as bad as it sounds, of course, unless you're a Greyhound employee. But he hopes those employees won't have to move to find other work.
This is somewhat of a shock to us. We hope with their new buildings coming on stream, with Northwest Credit Card Services coming out here, with KVI coming here, with 1,900 jobs, that they can absorb some of these people, we hope.
A reaction from the Greater Des Moines Chamber of Commerce Federation is actually somewhat upbeat. The Chamber expects some problems with those who are losing their jobs, but the Chamber President predicts they'll find other work here. The Chamber President cites positive numbers of Des Moines area growth. He says it's grown nearly 10% in the last 10 years despite some tough times. He says Des Moines is one of 30 nationwide so-called hotspots for business and plans on more than 3,000 new local jobs in the next year. In short, he's optimistic.
I've been assured by the CEO at Greyhound that they think so well of our workforce that they're all going to be offered opportunities in Texas, and should they not want to leave, they'll have no problem finding a job immediately right here in the Greater Des Moines area.
Now, both Mills and Reagan would prefer Greyhound to stay, of course, but they say the area will more than make up for the loss. Sue?
All right, thanks a lot, Jeff.
The company is pointing to changes in technology as a key reason for moving the jobs south. Drake business professor Dr. Robert Kemp joins us live now from his classroom on campus. Kemp, an expert on the Midwestern economy. I wonder, Dr. Kemp, why would changes in technology trigger this type of move for Greyhound?
Well, Kevin, there's always smoke in these kind of stories, and I think this is one of them. The real reason I think that they're moving is one of centralization. It's much better to have this accounting center right close to headquarters, and that's really what's happening.
Well, what could possibly be any sort of high-tech changes that are going on nationwide or anything like that that they might cite? Is there anything there, or is this blue smoke and mirrors?
Oh, I think this is a good excuse to centralize the headquarters. Accounting is a very, very important function in any business. Greyhound's had a lot of trouble. They're doing quite well now, and this is an opportunity to centralize their activities. The technology that they're using has been available for a long time.
All right, now, certainly the metro economy is strong enough to absorb this type of loss, but it's undoubtedly going to have some sort of impact. Any analysis, quickie analysis on that?
Well, I did a conversation this afternoon with Dan Otto, an economist up at ISU, and he has an input-output model, and he tells me that the loss of 400 jobs is going to run out to about 390 additional jobs. That's about 800 jobs in total then, 400 from Greyhound. Some of those will go south. Most of them I hope will stay here because they're all good people. The mayor of West Des Moines and the president of the Chamber of Commerce are absolutely right. Our economy here is so good that we can absorb those 800 people in quick order, I think. It's bad news, but Des Moines is in a great position to take care of it.
Robert Kemp at Drake University, thanks a lot for stopping by tonight. Appreciate it. And we'll have more on the Greyhound move tonight after the baseball game.
In other news tonight, a 16-year-old Altoona girl was killed this afternoon while driving home from school. The accident was in the 7500 block of Northeast 12th Avenue. The victim is 16-year-old Heather Lynn Gillum. Authorities say it appears Gillum lost control of her car. It flipped a number of times into a ditch where it struck a tree. Gillum was thrown from the vehicle. Polk County Medical Examiner Dr. R.C. Wooters says Gillum died instantly from head and chest injuries. 2 women were hurt this afternoon when they were hit by a truck while walking in downtown Des Moines. The accident happened about 12:45 at 7th and Grand. Police say a truck driven by 29-year-old Tisha Smith of Prairie City ran a red light and hit the women. 45-year-old Cynthia Pogue is in serious condition tonight at a Des Moines hospital. 37-year-old Anita Wheeler of Des Moines was treated and released. Smith was ticketed for failing to obey a traffic signal.
And Des Moines police tonight say they need your help in trying to locate a missing girl. Police looking for 13-year-old Sissy Andrew. She disappeared yesterday, and relatives say she left for classes at Goodwill Middle School but hasn't been seen since. The family had recently moved to Des Moines from Lucas, Iowa. Sissy Andrew, described as 5 feet 2 inches tall, weighing about 100 pounds, has brown hair and brown eyes. Authorities say they don't suspect foul play at this time, but if you have any information on this case, you're asked to call the Des Moines police.
A burglary suspect is behind bars tonight. Police say this man, William Parrish, is involved in several recent break-ins in Des Moines. Today, a Polk County judge ordered Parrish held on $650 bond for 1 count of 4th-degree theft and held on a parole violation, which would require $5,000 cash for release. Authorities say Parrish has a long criminal record, and they're searching for at least 2 other suspects in the burglaries. The Polk County Board of Supervisors wants to ease overcrowding at the county jail. Today, supervisors approved a plan to streamline the county jail and courts. The move could include using temporary semi-trailers or Fort Des Moines as jail cells, but also expand in-home detention. The plans could cost taxpayers $1 million, but supervisors hope the money could be saved by making the criminal process more efficient.
Well, Connie McBurney now says big changes on the way in the weather. Connie?
Boy, I guess. It doesn't look like very much yet, but live radar shows a few little scattered showers entering northwestern Iowa. Not to worry tonight, nothing too drastic is going to happen immediately. That's just the advance guard of a big rainy weather system and a big change in temperatures. More weather later in the news.
All right, thanks, Connie. And next on the TV8 News, a colorful giveaway at the fairgrounds. We'll have details coming up.
And notice anything different about the State House these days? The scaffolding's coming down on the west side. I'm Sarah Jarvis. I'll have a live report coming up.
Relax. Choose Medicapp Pharmacy. Patient care is our trademark. And as we grow across America, so do the savings. And we're in great shape to share the savings with those we care about most, our customers. So exercise your right to Medicapp's hometown service and low prices. You'll get all the care, all the savings, all in one place.
Halloween is the time to let your imagination have fun, and the fun always begins at Michael's. For wearables, you'll find the best selection of t-shirts, sweatshirts, and pant sets in adult, youth, and toddler sizes. Embellished with paints and Halloween trim to create your own unique costumes and one-of-a-kind designs. And as a special treat this week, all Halloween transfers and appliques are 33% off. For the most fun this Halloween, there's no place like Michael's.
How can Healthy Choice prepare a complete chicken parmigiana dinner that gives you less and more? By rewriting the entire recipe. Instead of simply giving you less fat, Healthy Choice selects more lean breast meat for more flavor. And there's not just less salt. Our sauce is brimming with luscious tomatoes, carefully seasoned with herbs and spices for more taste. Chicken Parmigiana dinner from Healthy Choice. Never settle for less.
Tonight's TV8 News, live at 6, is being simulcast on KELR Radio in Sheraton, 105 on your FM dial.
Well, for more than 2 years now, the Iowa State Capitol building has really looked more like a construction site than the home of Iowa government.
But now the facelift on the west side is done and the scaffolding is coming down. TV8's Sarah Jarvis is live at the State House with a new look that is actually much like the old. Sarah, are people glad the building is back to normal?
Absolutely, Sue. In fact, there are a lot of tourists who come visit the State House, and they're disappointed by all the construction that's been going on. And there are also a lot of people who work inside the State House who are very happy to see the scaffolding coming down.
It was great. It was great.
Linda Robertson can finally see a clear view of the city from her office at the State House.
But it has been very difficult working conditions.
Robertson and Karen Moll work at the State House Law Library. Construction on the Capitol has disrupted their lives since 1989.
We were always having drills and hammers while we were trying to talk on the telephone. And
the Capitol restoration is now 40% complete, with the clearing of the west side a major step in the project.
It's been covered for 2.5 years, and we have a lot of activities on the west side of the Capitol, and this somewhat has encumbered that a little bit.
Workers have been replacing hundreds of tons of worn-out stone, fixing the detailed sculptures, and cleaning the stone.
We're extremely pleased with the work that's been done so far.
The work has been long and noisy. Workers even had to take a break this afternoon because jackhammers were disrupting the Supreme Court. But there's still a lot of work to be done on the building. The cost, about $28 million. But it's something project foreman Carl Kreese says has to be done for the pride of Iowa.
We've got to get enough money to finish it, not just because of the jobs, but the state capitol has to want it to look nice, and it is a beautiful building.
And Sue, there is a lot of controversy about where that money is going to come from because, as you know, the state is